Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex. Today we're going to be taking a look at my favourite eShop deals covering the US, Canada, UK, EU and Australia. It's a bit of a quieter week this one, but still a nice selection and a fair few low prices, so hit subscribe, join us here for reviews and deals near daily, and let's get started. Before we do get into this then, we do have two winners to announce for two $10 eShop gift cards and two more to give away. To enter, drop a comment down below and the winners they'll be announced in next week's video. Then if you are grabbing anything, head to cornershop.gg for instant delivery email eShop gift cards. You'll get 10% off at checkout with code CORNER and the channel it gets a small kickback. Just a quick reminder as well that I'm moving house currently, so it may be a little quieter on the channel than you are used to with videos, but I will be back up and running here soon. Also, because of this, I'm moving a lot of things out of this room, so the audio it might sound a little bit weaker than usual. Haven then to kick us off with a new low price, 50% off, and this one it came from the Game Bakers. They made Furi previously. That was a bullet hell styled boss rush experience and followed up with this. It's a relaxed sci-fi adventure and it probably would have been my last guess as follow-up releases go, but it is a gem. The characters are fantastic, I loved the writing, it's a tale of two forbidden lovers on the run. Gameplay then, it has some minor RPG mechanics, which is simple turn-based battles, but it's mainly about exploration and collecting items. You also have this ability to hover around and you can even switch characters freely or play it in local co-op as well. Has some frame rate issues at points, but I still think it's a winner and my full review it is in the pinned comment below. Soundfall then, it dropped at an indie direct and has since mostly disappeared from discussion, but I enjoyed its unique spin on rhythm-based gameplay. The idea here, enter a world as a struggling musician who needs to help the locals by fighting back enemies. The trick, you need to time your shots and your movement abilities think like a dash to the beat of the music. The soundtrack though I enjoyed, and the action, it's a sizable game as well, but my complaints, it's the visuals, quite bland in design and you'll be facing multiple missions in the same locations. That's fine, but I actually preferred a quick play and simply choosing a song, because that way you're seeing different places more frequently. There's even then multiple characters to control and it's a new low price, 40% off, and my full review again it is in the pinned comment below. Jade Order then is a quick budget shout out, a new low here, 80% off, reviewed it on the channel, I'll link that down below, but it's a strategic puzzle game where you're out to save this world by lighting beacons. The idea, you move, your enemies move too, and you need to navigate and survive these locations. Some cool power-ups in here as well to leverage to give you the upper hand. Definitely a great experience for me personally in handheld as well. A shout out then to Chenso Club for sponsoring today's video, and this one it comes from Curve Digital. The idea though, an action platformer with a love for some brawling as well. The story, alien invaders are here, they're attacking, it's going to be your job to fight back in either single player or local 2-player co-op. It's all though randomized stages, this one, a whole lot of platforming, and you'll be controlling the title of Chenso Club, a group of fighters who have that skill to win. Now if they don't initially as well, do not worry, this one it's packing power-ups and customization that can make all of the difference. It's really unique in that sense as well, because to get access to those, let's say, perks, you actually have a store or a fence where you can trade your health in return for the option. For me, I got an air of Mega Man in its action and its controls from what I'm seeing, and not necessarily its level design, but rather, the movement patterns, that speed. Round it all out then though with bonus levels and boss encounters, and this, it may well be worth an add to the library. If it does sound like one for you, then check out the link to the eShop in the pinned comment down below. That supports Curve Digital and it helps out the channel at the same time. Grapple Dog then is a great platformer and it's currently matching the low here, 33% off, and this one you play the title of Dog and well, guess what, your main mechanic that is you can grapple. Takes some time to get used to the movement, but once you do get it, it definitely feels great. Some expansive levels though in design, tons of collectibles, and I really like the overworld map. It's 3D and you'll sail around in a boat. It's simple, but it just works really well in contrast to the 2D world design that you will be traversing. My full review is in the pinned comment below, and my name was actually in the trailer following the review too, which was very cool. The first one for the channel. If you do blink though, you'll definitely miss it. Dead by Daylight, then it comes with a warning. If you have any other system you can play this on, then please play it there. The Switch build is by far the weakest port, and I personally use my PlayStation. I am, however, a big fan of the game, and I do think if it's your only option, then head here. The idea though for survivors, they need to activate generators to escape a map, but there's one player-controlled killer standing in the way. It's a very simple concept, but it's addictive. It's been around for years now and the community is huge. You'll also be able to rank relatively quickly, so you're facing increasingly skilled players. It's got a ton of paid DLC and crossovers as well. Some remain, others get removed like Stranger Things, but it's matching the low price in the US and Canada, and it is a new low then for those in the UK, EU and Australia with 60% off. Just be warned, it's got a pretty big install size behind it. Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom Prince's Edition, then it gets a new low price here with 60% off. I will say it now, great follow-up, but not as good as the original. I prefer more traditional RPGs. This one lent more into action with real-time battles, and while it looks similar as well, they actually lost the involvement with Studio Ghibli. It's not to devalue this experience, so it's still a very good game. It even packs a dash of strategic combat as well. The story though, it just wasn't as impressive for me. Here we are, a young king out to build a new kingdom. I'd definitely watch a full review first. It packs a ton of mechanics given the genre, but it's definitely going to be worth the time. Also, not played the first, no worries. It's basically a standalone story outside of maybe a tiny moment, and you definitely can't complain at the price given there's a ton of content packed in here. Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishment then is fantastic. It deserves more love as well, but I reviewed this one on the channel. Find that in the linked comment below. A third-person adventure experience, so it captures the characters here perfectly in Holmes and Watson, and it uses both stories from real text as well as new narratives for this game. The idea though, it's basically chapter-based, each kind of containing their own tale. I love a good investigation though, and this had it all. Unique locations, depth to its mechanics, the ability to get a case wrong even, and good old interrogations across what is a sizable cast. There's even some experiment-based moments, but they are pretty simple kind of command screens to follow, but still, overall, really liked it, really impressed. Fantastic port as well, it looks and runs great. It's matching the low then here with 50% off. Bridge Constructor The Walking Dead then is another quick budget shout out. It's a new low though, 75% off, and if you've never played anything in this genre, it's a physics puzzle game as you build out these bridges to transport whatever it may be. In this case though, it's transporting survivors, keeping them out of the way of walkers, and there's even moments where characters have skills that you can utilise. Check my full review in the pinned comment below. Death's Gambit Afterlife then was a game I originally played on the PS4, but then it got this massive update and a Switch release, and this, it just feels like the perfect home for it. With 30% off as well, it's matching the low price, and it pens itself as a hardcore action platformer with RPG elements, and overall I was just really impressed. You know, it's not just the button mashing, but mastering our skill set, think almost like a Souls-like. Alongside that then, it is a Metroidvania in the sense we'll unlock abilities and upgrades that allow us to take that next step. And then there's also just a ton going on in here, a skill tree with 100 talents, 7 classes, 20 boss encounters, a harder mode known as Heroic, customization, crafting, new endings, new game plus, and yeah, the list goes on from there. You like things like Souls-like so, or Blasphemous even as a good example, come here, and it's near triple of the size of the original release, so maybe like me, you played it on the PlayStation or somewhere else, it may still be worth that extra investment. Furi Modore Edition then gets its first ever sale of 50% off, and now technically you could maybe have gotten this in the past for $1 or so cheaper if picked up separately, but I still think this is more than worth the price. I'm a big fan of the game, and I reviewed the base game as well as the DLC that came out recently. That was even years after release, so respect to the developers. Find them both though in the pinned comment below. The idea though, a boss rush game where you will have ranged and melee attacks, and enemies they'll often have bullet hell patterns as well. You're traversing what is an alien-like prison though, and the gameplay, only boss moments and then these short walking sequences that essentially build upon the narrative, but they're also just a great moment to have, you know, a brief relax. The expansion though, we got a new character, new skill set, new boss, and a ton of options as well, specifically focused on difficulty. This should now be enjoyable for any experience level, unlike when it was originally released. Definitely would have described that build as hardcore. A personal favourite though, as I said, it's always an easy one to recommend. Our first winner of the week then is going to Daniel, who called out Star Wars and wanting the base game and a deeper sale, which no doubt will happen very soon. I suspect we'll be seeing it come Black Friday. Congrats so Dan, drop me an email to claim your code, and everyone else, we still do have a second winner coming up here shortly in the video. Severed Steel then, full of transparency, reviewed it on the channel. I wasn't quite as enthusiastic about it as many out there. I loved the gameplay, but I felt the frame rate wobbles and the visual downgrade just harmed the experience a little too much. A good contrast of opinions on this one though, it'll be looking at my review and then maybe that of SwitchUp's, so I'll be linking both below and you can kind of figure out where you stand. It's still a fun game though, it's a first-person shooter all about moving fast and busting some parkour-like moves. Think something along the lines of Ghost Runner as a comparison piece. It's a new low price though, 25% off, and we don't exactly have a huge amount of shooters on the Switch, so it's always good to see a new entry. Our second winner then, it's going to Gustav, who picked up Inmost, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. Little gem that one, and a bargain price. I believe it's still on sale as well right now for let's say another day or so at time of recording. It's going to be a good one for fans of games like Limbo and Inside. Congrats so Gustav, email me to get that code, and everyone else, drop a comment down below for your chance to win in next week's video. Skul the Hero Slayer then, and full of transparency, this is one I took my time with. It's currently actually sitting in the backlog of reviews that I do want to get around to eventually. It's 40% off though currently, a new low price, definitely worth the time. Got a lot of respect at release as well, and it's just a quality roguelite platformer. Story though, we're out to save our king by taking on what is an entire army. The pixel work though, it's stunning, the combat is fast paced, and the most unique element, we get new skills which add power ups and skills. We can use in fact 2 at a time, and it's all topped off then with some fantastic boss encounters as well. Definitely watch a full review first, definitely a lot to it, you know, make sure you're up to the challenge. And that is the video down. Will you be adding anything to the library or holding onto that cash? With that then, like, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews and deals near daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.